going to say it's the start of the board meeting, January 23rd, 2023. And before the recording started, we did do the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Henry?
Here.
Give your address again. Sorry, Sid, can you give your address again?
Oh, I'm sorry. 12913 Southwest Vermilion Circle, Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
You're
Trustee
welcome.
Here. And you're sitting at the desk. Trustee Evans? Here. Trustee Lopez? Mayor Williams?
Here.
Myself, and I'll note the presence of Attorney Posen, Commissioner Foster, IT Services and Nazo, Water Foreman Diaz, DPW Foreman Bellantoni, Fire Chief Signor, Village Engineer Capicata, and Mr. EMS, Nelson Diaz.
Pedro.
And the Fire Secretary.
Thank you, sir. Motion to approve the board meetings of 5/2/22, 5/16/22, and 5/23/22.
So moved. Second, roll call.
Trustee Henry,
Aye.
Trustee Coffey,
Aye.
Trustee Evans,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez, Mayor Williams.
Aye. That's all we have.
Correct.
Committee reports. Trustee Henry.
I have nothing to report this month, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Except the weather's nice, maybe, or?
Beautiful.
Sure, rub it in. Yeah, you know next week. Trustee Coffey.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank village engineer Tony Capicata for taking over and taking care of the missing position, and he's been covering building inspector as well as plans examiner and responding to fire calls, and then following up with property owners who resolve fire villages. He's also working on the county planning department on the side of a water main replacement to South Central Avenue, and working on closing out 2 other water main projects. Thank you, sir. And odds to the library, I have nothing to report yet, other than looking for this.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Evans.
Sure. At our last meeting, I was able to give you the reports of highway and sanitation and our recreation department in terms of our athletics. I will be briefing you on our school district and our recreation department in terms of our camp. Our interim superintendent, Dr. Gonzalez, gave a very thorough presentation. His mid-year report at a recent board meeting. I just want to briefly highlight some of those key points that he made in dividing the report between 4 crucial elements: safe and secure environments. He discussed a school monitor that would be added at Grady, along with the second one at Hamilton. Discussed the completion of all their fire inspections, and is proposing a building condition survey that would use an independent contractor. In terms of systems and structures, they discussed embracing technology and updating their building schedules to be able to maximize their instructional time. In terms of family community engagement, families are now able to access more information about how their student is doing through monthly newsletters that school principals are disseminating, in addition to a new website that appears to be more functional, more engaging, and they're continuing to put out more information using that medium. In terms of equity and social emotional learning, they have done tremendous work around equity and restorative practices. They brought in a bilingual math teacher at Hamilton and increased teaching distance at Grady for math intervention services as well. They're going to continue to add supports for students that are transitioning from Dixon to Grady, and spoke about the number of students that are engaged in a foreign language at Alexander Hamilton. In a larger picture, we discussed in a vision of completing a rebuild for Dixon with a timeline of 2024 to 2029, which could involve grade reconfigurations, potentially looking at Grady being a true middle school. But then any upgrades would include making the buildings completely ADA compliant. So it's very clear that our school district is heading in great directions, working incredibly hard to serve the students of our community. So kudos to them. In terms of our recreation, the preparation for camp is indeed underway. As we continue to go through our calendar, we'll provide more updates on registration dates, new programs that will be rolled out as well. Had the honor, as I mentioned in the previous report, of attending our new assembly members swearing in at the Greenberg Town Hall. It was an honor representing us and wishing assembly member Shimsky well in her.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Constables. The constables work Hamilton High School plays for basketball games on Tuesday, January 10th and Thursday, January 19th. They also cover the Mount Carmel church details on Sunday, January 15th and Sunday, January 22nd. The constables also assisted with the Mount Carmel food pantry on Saturday, January 21st. Our water department. The department continued with the daily work testing and mark sites. They also been busy doing bulk maintenance and repairs. IT. IT continues to work on the budget with the department heads, and he continues with his daily support to the village. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank Commissioner Foster and the police department for doing a great job as always. As you know, we have police officers at the opening and closing of all the schools, and officers stop in around the grounds and in the building during the day, and at events that we have in the afternoon and evenings. And our SRO is in the schools all day long. We've done that. We were one of the very first to do that. After the first school shooting happened, we were able to deploy people that come up there playing work into the school, and we've been out ahead of it. As a lot of people in the county, just like we were in the church. After the first shooting in one of the churches, we deployed officers in all the masses. And again, I'm repeating myself, which I've said this 100 times. Cardinal Dolan sent a letter to all the pastors asking their police departments to be at all the masses, and Father Bob wrote back, we were doing it for many years before he even asked for it to be done. So it's always nice to know that we're out ahead of it. I can personally tell you that a lot of people stop and thank us for being at the schools and in the churches for all the masses and school events and stuff. It's very comforting to the parents to know that their kids are safe, and people know that they go into church and pray without having to worry about something happening. As you saw by my email, this past week, there was an incident at Eastchester High School that prompted all the schools to keep an extra eye out. It turned out to be nothing, and I'd like to personally thank our SRO officer Ramirez for contacting the Eastchester SROs and finding out exactly what took place. So, but it was nice to know that when they sent it out through their superintendent's emails, the superintendent forwarded to myself and the commissioner, and we automatically did our standard system by deploying extra patrols at the schools, and the other ones were already in place at the opening and closings where the issue took place. So it was nice to know that we had a mechanism in place already to be there and or to supplement if something was going to happen. Just like we're going to do again tomorrow and for undisclosed amount of time, because it was, as you saw, there was a shooting in the school today where 2 students died in Iowa. So again, there are no threats here in Elmsford, but we don't want anything to happen, and we want people to remain calm while their kids are going to school. So again, we have a mechanism in place, and thank you, Commissioner Foster, for doing that. You're making a lot of people feel very comfortable. We sent officers to a countywide active shooters class last week, and that was very productive. It's always good to do that with a lot of people in the county. I'll be sending out an email about the Sleepy Hollow Carry Down St. Patrick's Day Parade if you wanted to attend that again. The Mount Carmel Food Pantry went very well. Reminded the 2 more food pantries this month at the public schools on the 25th at 3:30, and at the senior center on the 28th, sponsored by Echoes Africa Initiatives at 1 o'clock. I issued the annual proclamation for the Yogathon, which this year runs from January 14th to January 29th. That request came in, and I issued the proclamation for that. It's Health for Humanity Yogathon, and we do that every year, so it's nice to be able to support that. We did a mailing to update our veterans list, and so far we've got a few new veterans that didn't know about our programs and things that we do for the veterans and what entitled to them by law. So we've got a few new ones that moved into village. It was nice. We haven't done that for a few years, so it's nice to see that there are some new veterans. They have their separate mailing lists, and every time there's something pertaining to them, we send them a note what's going on to keep them abreast of benefits that they're entitled to. So the misdemeanor mental health court opened in Westchester. That was sent to all the courts and the police departments. So that looks like it's going to be a very good thing. It's located in White Plains City Court. And referrals to the court can be made by any town, village, or city court, Westchester County, and operate on Thursday afternoons. So we'll be looking to, if the court decides to send people over to that, that would be very, very beneficial to people. I have a Zoom call later this week with the group called Legal Hands. It's a call-in center run out of Pace University. It'll start January 30th. So they want me to sit in on that call, and they're going to tell us exactly what they're going to do for everybody. So we'll report on that next meeting. It sounds like it's operated by Elizabeth Hall School of Law, Pace University. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to offer to the residents of Westchester. Reminder, tomorrow, the 24th, the ramp getting on 287 East from Springbrook Park and North will be closed from 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. to replace the guardrails. Our Lady of Mount Carmel School is having an open house Monday, January 30th, Tuesday, January 31st, and Wednesday, February 1st, from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. For those of you who want the ornaments back from the Tree of Remembrance and Thanks, they're available to be picked up in the lobby of Village Hall. A lot of people already came to pick them up. They're available from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. until February 17th. Some people make the ones that we provide. Some people bring their own and take them back every year. And I noticed the box is slowly going down, so people will stop by to pick them up. Durant Westchester is having a day of delivering packages to seniors on Sunday, January 29th from 10:30 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. I did send it out. I believe it's on our website, on the Facebook page. If anybody wants more information about that, come see me. I'll give you a flyer. Westchester County is looking for lifeguards and will offer a scholarship to 10 students to fund the lifeguard certification course if you want to become a lifeguard. The sugaring season is now in effect in Westchester County. If you want to participate in these, please go to the county website for more information. That's a lot of fun, where you go to the different parks and they get this syrup and stuff from the trees. So I've seen it once or twice, and it's a lot of fun. Westchester County has suspended the sales tax on home energy costs through February 28th. So remember to check your bills when your oil gets delivered, that there's no tax on that. County tax. The county has free braces to distribute to people with Alzheimer's who wander off. The bracelet transmits a signal so if a person wanders off, they can be found. This has been in place for many, many years. The county sent me a note to get the word out again. It's obviously the bill of Alzheimer's, and some people just walk out of the house when people turn their back or up in the middle of the night. So if they put the bracelet on, they're able to be tracked. So the signals are. It's a very good program. Reminder that they also asked me to remind everybody constantly, the new suicide and crisis lifeline number is 988. The old 10-digit number is still in effect, and if you do call it, it will work and it'll be transferred to the 988 number, but they want everybody to get used to the 988 number. So I was invited to tour the new adoption center at Falls Cross Animal Shelter, so I'll take them up on that invitation soon, and I'll go check it out and report back, see how they're doing over there. Administrator.
Nothing more, sir.
Thank you, sir. Council. Thank you. Building.
One quick thing, I mentioned to the mayor and Mike before, and something the board might want to consider. Our zoning code currently allows buildings up to 150 feet high in our business district. It's like 15 stories. Something that's been there forever. And I know you were kind of not too happy about the self-storage buildings popping up all over. Just the way our zoning code's written, I mean, let's say the building that had the fire, someone could buy that, buy the gas station next door, tear it down and put a storage building in the middle of town. It would be 5 stories, big block of, storage. So you may want to consider possibly establishing a moratorium on self-storage buildings or on mass buildings for over 3 stories or something along those lines. And then have the planner look at our zoning code and kind of tweak it to put these buildings where they, maybe where they belong on the west end and not in the central business district. The reason I bring that up is because other areas, I've been already getting calls of a business that's going out and it's a large store and I'm getting calls whether it could be a storage building, and it can. And I don't think you want to see one there. So something you can consider, we'd have to put that on the agenda and make that we'd have to have a vote on that, right? You know, it would have to be a local law. So something you might want to talk about or consider. Thanks.
Thank you. Police.
Nothing.
EMS.
Nothing.
Fire. Highway. Water. IT guy. Anyone from the public? Come on down.
I had a question about, there was a discussion of our village events and, trustee,
Could you just say your name?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
whoever's Watching.
Julia Rogers. Do I need to get my address? Yeah, there was a discussion of village events, and trustee Evans had brought up potentially having a survey, maybe, and I know we have to think so far in advance before we do another thing. So I just wondered if you guys had gotten any further talking about maybe employing a survey, and if you do, I just want to make a suggestion, which you probably already know, trustee Evans, and also Mr. Nazo, is that we should put QR codes around town. We are going to do a survey just so people have easy access to it, besides just also the mailing, hit them wherever we can hit them.
Just like have on the trail now, the QR code is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So it makes stuff so easy.
Yes. More better.
And I know that you mentioned the VOC committee meeting, and you guys are all putting a pause on
The individual resolution, because they're looking at a countywide.
right, okay. Just very pro that resolution and killing that wheel breaker. Just want to be on record.
Anyone else?
It's just, if you don't mind. Just got a question for the Commissioner Foster. Question, what's going on with the police radios? I have spoken to a few of your officers and to basically tell them that sometimes they couldn't even communicate to headquarters.
Me and the IT guy were working on it. The next step was what you guys just authorized for them to come in and do the next step that was needed.
How many times has it happened where you have police officers on a foot pursuit and they cannot communicate to headquarters?
We had that one time that has happened. And that's when we started addressing the system with any issues that they had, but we can't duplicate that. We went there and tried it again. We don't know if it's officer error. If the guy, when you're in a foot pursuit and you're running, and you have a shoulder mic on, it was raining that night. Did he have his raincoat on? There's so many questions. But out of all the problems that we have had with the radios, first or second time, they do get through. That was the only time we had that we could not get through.
The reason why I ask is, you know how critical police radio is.
Yes.
And I don't want that to happen again.
I don't want it to happen again either, but that's why the village has been addressing it.
We just want to make sure
Right.
that they have reliable radios.
So, yeah, so as Commissioner Foster said, we are working with Goostown to move forward on that, repairs that are necessary to get us up to the baseline, which then at which point in time, we're going to move forward to see where we have weak spots, weak zones, we need to put additional so possibly. The commissioner, the chief, and myself, last week sat down with a representative with Goostown to discuss new portables and a new program that they offer where you can actually lease portables. So you would actually have everything under warranty. You would know what your OpEx budget would be from year to year versus purchasing them under a capital project. So we're waiting to get some pricing on what it would cost to outfit using that type of service where everything would be covered under warranty, cases, buttons, antennas. It would all be replaceable throughout the year for a 5-year term contract. And after 5 years, we then can upgrade as our system upgrades. We can actually upgrade the portals as either we go longer in the 5-year contract, or after the 5-year contract, we can go and have a new set of portals.
The good part about that is it's like leasing the cars every 3 years, they go back. or 4 years, depending on the lease, and same would be the radios. If the technology gets better, or they don't want to, we just turn them in and get new ones every few years, rather than waiting the 15 years like we had for the other ones.
I will,
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mike. Now, the second question that I have is, I know the administrator and myself, we talk about this in the past. COVID pay, I know a whole bunch of jurisdictions within which is the county, they have what they call COVID pay. Some police departments got it back in December. I just got mine a couple of weeks ago. Along with the check, we got a letter from the county executive. That letter stated that that's federal money that came to villages, towns. And the money was supposed to be distributed or given to first responders or whoever was working during COVID. So I want to know why none of our offices got what they call COVID pay.
Can I address it? Let's take the word supposed to out of it at the beginning. Supposed to is not in the calculation, not in the equation. The money that the county used, each municipality got a certain amount of funds. One of the eligible activities was to provide quote unquote heightened risk pay or COVID pay to employees, from a janitor to a police officer, to yourselves, to me, to all of these guys. That's an eligible activity. Some municipalities chose to do it. The city of Yonkers chose to do it. I think the county obviously chose to do it in some places, not all. And we had this discussion when we first got our money, or it was being allocated. And we determined that we were going to do a couple of things. We were going to do some capital projects that needed to be done that were eligible. One was a water line. The other one is the project in here for ventilation, and in the senior center as well for ventilation. And the rest of it was going to be allocated for lost revenues such as court funds, parking meters, other things that during that COVID time, we really took a hit in that we had no chance to get any money back. The board is not obligated to pay that out to anyone. It was it's eligible. One of the arguments, if you remember, I said at that time, we had basically during COVID, you had 2 employees that were here every day, every single day. That's all you had. It was the mayor and me. Everybody else was on a flex schedule. The clerk worked 2 days a week. The court was closed for 12 and a half months. They worked 1 or 2 days a week. Somebody else worked 1 or 2 days a week. So that was viewed as, that was sort of the part of the benefit because we reduced the risk to them. I had a conversation with the police commissioner at the same time, and I recently had a conversation with the union president, and I said, you know, it's nice, everybody worked, but you guys also, you weren't pulling people over. You weren't leaving the station unless you had to. We were doing double screenings on calls, so ambulance people didn't have to go to places. So the fact that one municipality said, okay, this was a reward, and we chose not to do that is
When you
something
say
that
we,
you chose.
when you say
We had this discussion, the board, we had this discussion, not once, twice. We had this discussion during the PBA and CSCA contract negotiations. I brought it up, and I said it was eligible, but it's not something I'm recommending we do. And you chose not to do it. But the one thing I want to make clear is there is no, it was supposed to. There is no requirement from the federal government. I want to make that clear.
So the money that the government issued or gave to municipalities, towns, there is no one on paper that says that whoever was working during COVID was eligible.
Absolutely, no, it's an eligible expense, but you didn't have to do it. It's not that it has to go to the police commissioner or the PO or what, no. There's nothing in the rules that says.
Thank you. One last thing. Were you able to make contact with DOT regarding the,
I sent them a communication, I haven't heard back.
thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Motion to close both meetings? Or adjourn to executive session?
Motion for executive session to discuss the personnel history of a particular.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Everybody, thank you.